Thanks for joining us once again. This is Greg. Today we focus on a concept called the $20,000 Tesla that's available right now. And the question is, what is it, how does it work, and what's the likelihood it might occur? This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, would like some better ideas on investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. So there's something that popped up that I was fascinated by. There's a company called NIO, and NIO's batteries are being made by BYD in China. And I just checked today, NIO's stock price is at 5. And NIO has currently 2,490 battery swap locations throughout China, expecting to increase that number going forward. So I read about this perhaps a month and a half ago, and my initial reaction was, that's a great idea, but I think that company's going bankrupt. And the reason was that there's a company called Tesla, and there's a place called Harris Ranch, which is almost midpoint between San Francisco and Los Angeles on I-5. And it turns out that Tesla does a lot of its experimentations with how the charging process is going to work on different vehicles at that location. It's also a spot that it has a whole bunch of significance in different ways for Tesla, but one of them is Elon pointed out that on Friday night and Sunday night, people are usually going either north or south on I-5, and that location is sort of one of the most important charging facilities anywhere in the world for Tesla, because it's one of the highest density of Tesla vehicles on the road, and the problems, etc., that people at that spot have is one of the ways Elon evaluates how the company should change. So in this case, what the decision was made was that Tesla was going to open a battery swap facility at Harris Ranch, and the goal was to allow people, instead of sitting in long lines and waiting to be charged up, they could simply swap their battery out. And so they did this, I believe, for 3 or 4 months to see if it would work. The swap process at that point was taking under 15 minutes, more, 10 to 15 minutes, let's say. And so what ended up happening was all of the folks coming to the facility and having their battery swapped dried up as a business. Consumers had a sense that they preferred to know how the battery that's in their vehicle was managed over time, so that they weren't getting sort of a dud battery installed in their vehicle. Now, as I shared earlier, the reason why the swap plan was developed was at that specific charging location, Tesla was experiencing backups that were running as long as 3 hours for people to get charged up and depart. And so one solution would have been a 15-minute or less charge or swap to allow them to avoid that wait time. And so that was sort of cleared up, because there's also a place called Kettleman City, which is sort of the next off-ramp off the freeway. And so Tesla opened one of the largest charging facilities anywhere in the world there. And so between the two of them, they've managed to sort of sop up the heavy demand for charging that Tesla has. But nonetheless, this brings up the whole question of, what is Tesla going to do about this $20,000 battery, or this $20,000 vehicle? Now, what they're doing in China is that NIO is allowing people to, in essence, swap out the battery, and the turnaround time is said to be about 5 minutes for this to occur. What's nice about this, obviously, is that you can swap the battery out a lot faster than you can have it charge up. You also have the benefit of different sizes of batteries. So if you are doing your typical commute, you could just do your regular small size battery and make that your routine. But if you're going on an extended trip and you'd like more range, then you can simply swap uh, for a larger pack for that period of time. And then even at your destination, you could, still stay with the same size pack or drop down to a smaller one if you chose to do so. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Another feature, obviously, is if you choose a very small pack to install, your the cost for that pack is lower. So to some extent, you could say you're leasing or renting your battery pack instead of buying it when you purchase your car. Now, another note when it comes to consumer vehicles, if it's a commercial vehicle, that might be on the road all day, every day, but when it comes to consumers, the vehicles are typically only used under 30% of the time. So that's a lot of sitting time when the battery is not being used. So, therefore, I think it's fascinating. The question is, will Tesla uh, make an effort to reintroduce the battery swapping as NIO has success with this globally, or will they decide based on customer demand to not do that? The beauty of this right now, though, is it allows Tesla potentially to offer a below $20,000 vehicle because you could, in theory, put a pack that was large enough to get to and from your local service facility where you could get um, either same size or larger size battery, but you're also able to keep your costs down in the process. My view of it is that whatever the customers think and want to do is the direction I think the company should go in. So if it's offered and people want to do it, why not? And if they don't want to do it, it's their money that they're putting up, so they can make the choice between the two. My read of the whole thing is that number one, Tesla has chosen not to do it, and they tried it, but it's entirely possible that there's a population of folks that that $20,000 ish vehicle hits their budgets better, and they want all the benefits of the electric experience, but without the heavy cost. For those homeowners who have a home and they want to put charging or solar panels on top and then charge up their vehicles, if they have a relatively short commute and routing that they're doing, this actually might allow them to save a great deal of money and at the same time, get their transportation needs met. What I think is going to happen? The answer is the trend in any business is whatever method of doing business is successful, people will switch to that and it'll end up being very successful going forward. My gut says that uh, most consumers are pretty well educated, etc. The one problem I saw with this solution is a concept called time value of money. So if you have 2,400 locations, that's a lot of spots for you to swap at. The problem that I see potentially happening is the lower the amount of income you earn, the more you want a very inexpensive vehicle. And as you earn more money, the value of time tends to be high. So having to go find a battery swap location and swap the battery, um, it consumes time. So even though they're saying 5 minutes to get the swap done, you still have the time it took from your domicile to uh, the swap place and then go on to your destination or come back. And so you're adding more time to your day. Obviously, the ideal would be to simply plug your vehicle in at home, be done with it, and you never go to any charging or any swapping. So, what do I think is going to happen? Uh, I would say that time is really valuable right now. So, I expect that a lot of consumers will avoid this and simply, buy a small pack if they want one and rent a car if they have long distance to go and maybe even rent an electric vehicle to do so if that's what they want to do. But uh, who knows about how technology works? And I wish them the best, and we look forward to see if this might be a way to lower the unit costs for buyers to get into a Tesla and therefore expand the number of Teslas that are being sold. So this formally ends our sort of discussion of this battery swap idea. Next, we do our health tips as usual. Just a reminder, 25 leg lifts a day combined with, I'm actually doing sort of, I call them cross. So if you put your arms behind your head and while laying flat in your bed, if you're doing a cross there, you're strengthening your core, and you can have your legs going at the same time as a way to sort of do crunches at the same time. I would recommend I do that every day. Also wanted to encourage you to remember at least 2 weeks, same bed and wake time every day to develop a sleep etiquette that works. I finally wanted to encourage you. One of our docs, who is a kidney doc, recommended no more than once a week for fried foods. And I just had a chance to watch some video on the impact of fried chicken on the body and was really surprised at the negative impact. But, the breading process and the starch and the heat and using seed oils, just a number of different sort of body wrecking ideas. And it definitely has impacted my aggressiveness about fried food eating because of damage to the body. Once again, wanted to thank you for joining us. What do you think about this whole swap idea? Would you consider doing it? Please share your opinion, because obviously folks at Tesla are going to be, getting backward information about this. Tschüss, au revoir, Heathrow, Hoda Hafez, Drajice, Ni Hao Mao, Namaste, Arrivederci. And in Jamaica, we say, Nuff respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.